Good afternoon. Part of what I do with my work at Riverwalk Church is benevolence. And part of that specific work of benevolence is sometimes putting gasoline into the vehicle tank of someone who's in need. I actually put the gas in for them. I don't just give them cash or a gift card. I'll meet them at the gas station. That's usually a Quick Trip, or maybe it's a Dillon's. Visit with them and pump their gas for them. I usually meet them at one of the downtown Quick Trips, Seneca and West Douglas, Kellogg and South Broadway, or maybe the East Douglas and Washington Quick Trips, because that's close to where our church is. I'll usually get there before our client, and I'll park in one of the stalls that is not at a gas pump. And I'll wait for the client to come in and then meet up with them and get them what they need. Sometimes I arrive several minutes before the client does, and I usually take that time to just watch the goings-on at that Quick Trip. It's always busy there. People are constantly driving in and out, going in and out of the building, and generally creating movement. Sometimes there'll be a homeless person or two around the outside, or maybe a Quick Trip employee will be outside emptying trash or doing maybe some other kind of cleanup. Sometimes I see a particular person and I wonder what their day is like. I wonder what kind of life they've been living the past year or so. I wonder what the future may hold for them. I wonder if they're just feeling positive today, or maybe are they down. I wonder just how healthy they are and if they have access to the care that they may need. Yes, I know these are questions with few answers, and that even the person himself or herself wouldn't necessarily know how to answer at least some of those types of questions. And then I visit with the one that we're helping with fuel when they show up. Sometimes they don't tell me very much, but sometimes they just sort of pour it all out right there at the gas pump. Like today, we pumped gas for a woman who seemed to be somewhat down. I gently probed and found out that her landlord has asked her to move from her Section 8 house because he needs to do a complete renovation of the house, and he doesn't have another place for her to go. Well, she knows, and I do too, that finding a Section 8 house is difficult at best. There just aren't many available, and the cost of private housing is even higher. Then there's the expense of moving. There's the first and last month's rent, deposit, getting kids into a new school, utilities, and all that other stuff that comes with this kind of a situation. Her comment to me was, "It is just so overwhelming at times." Now, earlier today, we helped a social worker with some food for someone that she was working with. Her client was physically impaired and not even able to walk out to her mailbox, let alone go to the grocery store or other chores that most of us often take for granted. She got Meals on Wheels once a day, and she'd been living on that. The client needed some kind of a mattress too, because she was sleeping on a futon, which was on a sheet of plywood. Well, the social worker volunteered to me that the client was raped a while back and couldn't bear to sleep on the same mattress that she was raped on. She had tossed that mattress away, and she was making do with the futon. She filed a police report, but she wasn't told, she says, about support services that might be available to victims of sexual assault. The police are really supposed to provide that information, and they may have tried, but in the emotions of the moment, she may not have understood what they were trying to do for her, or it may have just gone through the cracks somehow. However, there should have been some kind of follow-up, but evidently that didn't happen. And so the social worker is working with her to obtain some of those needed services. In the course of my conversation with her, the social worker, she told me, "It's all so overwhelming." Sound familiar? She was speaking about the load that she herself was carrying in trying to make a small positive dent in the lives of those who come to her for services, who are so broken in so many places and so many ways. Well, it's Thursday afternoon right now. Each Thursday afternoon, I mentally sort of feel like I've just run a marathon this week. I don't work on Fridays, so I have a 3-day weekend to recover, but even then, I usually have responsibilities on Sundays at the church. I too sometimes feel like it's all so overwhelming. The weekend, though, is welcome, and I usually spend a lot of it out on the back patio, weather permitting, at the edge of the park, and I just be for a while. I wrote on Facebook recently about a conversation I had with a friend who spoke of finishing strong regarding our lives and how we as older folks, he is one of the older folks, by the way, choose to use the time remaining that God has given us. I want to finish strong. I don't want to lay around the house doing nothing. I think Pat wouldn't want me there in any event doing that. The idea of finishing strong has become one that is at the forefront of my mind and probably will be for a considerably long time. It's what I want to do, should God give me the grace and the mercy to do that. The Quick Trip parking lot and the gas pumps are, I think, a decent sampling of life for many. Sometime when you have some time, just stop by one. Park where you can see the action and just observe for a few minutes. Who knows, it may open up a whole new understanding of our society and give you a much better shot at knowing and understanding how people live in their days. It isn't all unicorns and rainbows. In fact, I have yet to see a unicorn at the Quick Trip, but it is life. Life in the here and now. Life for many just trying to get through the day relatively intact. May God bless.